Hi everyone, I'm Eric from Lonesome Reader, and this is the Reading Habits tag, which the lovely Helene Jeppesen tagged me in. It's been a while since I've done a tag video, so I thought it would be fun to do this. And it's Sunday today. I've just been working all day. On Sundays, I work as a massage therapist, and I had a full day of clients today, so I'm really worn out and tired, and I just want to spend the rest of the late afternoon and evening in my cozy book nook here reading, but I thought it would be fun to do this quick tag video first because it has lots of fun questions and sort of related to what I'm doing right now. So I'm curled up here wearing my Kate Bush t-shirt, and I've got a mug of tea with my favorite mug, my mustache mug, which is only my favorite mug because it holds so much tea. I used to have a mug that was this same size, which was a Golden Girls mug, which said on it "Back in St. Olaf," but I broke that and I was heartbroken when that broke because I loved that mug. I also have lots of other fun mugs. I'll show you some of them. Here I also have this really cute Moomin mug, which is just too small, unfortunately, for me to actually use very much, but it's very cute. I also have a Charlie Brown mug, a Jane Fonda mug, which shows her when she was arrested for protesting, and also a Joyce Carol Oates mug, which has a picture of her novel I'll Take You There, and a quote from it, and a quote from Wittgenstein, which was an inspiration for the novel. But unfortunately, all of these mugs are too small. I can't do with these sort of poxy, small English mugs to drink tea. I need a lot of tea, so I stick to my big mustache mug. Anyway, on to the questions now. So the first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? And so I've just sort of been showing you that my comfy sofa here, which is right next to my enormous bookcase filled with books. There's a tower of books going up. You can see it just goes on and on. So I love to sit here and read and stare up at all the wonderful books that I still have to read. You know, I can just get lost for ages just staring at a wall of books. It's like really weird how it has that sort of hypnotizing effect where you just stare at them and get lost thinking about all those stories that are waiting there to be read. But of course I don't just read here. I read all over the place really. I read in bed a lot, and I also read on the sofa in my living room, so anywhere really. Next question is bookmark or random piece of paper. Now, I really use anything that comes to hand. I do have some bookmarks which I like to use, but they often get lost or torn or in a book that I don't finish reading. At the moment, I'm reading Joyce Carol Oates' new novel, Book of American Martyrs, and I am using a actual bookmark in that, and it's this rather dapper penguin bookmark, which I quite like. But then also another favorite bookmark of mine is this one, which is a quill, which the lovely people at Hogarth sent me. They're doing this fantastic range of books which are modern retellings of Shakespeare classics, and they sent me this when I was sent Jeanette Winterson's novel when she did her version of The Winter's Tale. But then I also have total random things which I use as bookmarks and which I like to keep in books, because then when you look through the books later you discover old receipts or cinema tickets or tickets to the theater, and it sort of brings back all those memories of what you saw. I had to flick through some of my books to see what things were in there, and I found a paint swatch which was kind of strange. I don't remember why that would be in there, but has wonderful colors like rose frost, Bermuda tan, mushroom beige, chestnut brown, and oxtail. Then I also found this great picture from a David Hockney exhibit that I went to see, I think at the Royal Academy, which has really beautiful colors. So there you go. I really use anything to mark my place in a book, but I never ever turn down the corners of a page to keep my place. That feels really sacrilege to me. The next question is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter, a certain amount of pages? Well, really, I just stop anywhere. I like to try to get to an end of a chapter or the end of a section, but I read on the go a lot. So if I'm reading on the train or on a bus, or if I'm interrupted for some reason, it's fine. I don't mind. If I can get 5 minutes of reading in, I'll get that in, whether that means I'm able to read a full chapter or not. And that's part of the reason I think why I get through so many books, because I just read whenever I have a free moment available. People often ask me how I read so many books, and really that's the answer. I just take advantage of all the time I have, and if I have a spare moment or two, I'll read. So the next question, do you eat or drink while reading? Well, yes, I do drink. I drink a lot of tea while I'm reading, most often. But every once in a while, I'll enjoy an alcoholic beverage while I'm reading. I find that gives a really different kind of reading experience. If you're having cocktails and reading, it feels really decadent. Sometimes it can make you feel like, wow, I'm so in tune with what I'm reading. This is so profound and amazing. But then the next day I'll go back and think, what was I reading? I can't remember anything about what I just read. So that's sort of dangerous. So usually I just stick to tea. And eating, no, I don't eat while I'm reading. I've found that's very dangerous because often I'll drip or spill what I'm eating, and I wouldn't want to ruin lovely Kate Bush's face by spilling something on myself while I'm reading. So drinking's fine, I can handle that, but eating I find gets messy. Multitasking, music or TV while reading. And what? TV? Why would you watch TV while you're reading? That is, I just can't even understand what that question means. So, no TV ever while reading. But music, yes, music sometimes. I really prefer to read in silence. But if I'm, like I said, if I'm on the train or something, or if I'm in a cafe and it's noisy, it's usually preferable to be listening to music than be getting snatches of somebody else's conversation, which can be really distracting, particularly if they're having an argument, which is sort of fun to eavesdrop on. Yeah, I'll listen to music, but usually it has to be something that doesn't have any lyrics, so like classical music. This sounds really pretentious, but I listen to Chopin a lot while I'm reading, or just music that I'm really familiar with. So like I don't have to tune into that much. It's just sort of there in the background, and I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm just paying attention to what I'm reading. Next question: one book at a time or several at once? And really, I'm horribly unfaithful to books. I am almost always reading several books at once, and that's really a practical thing though, because quite often I'll be reading a physical book, but then also reading something on the Kindle. I don't actually use a Kindle, but I use the Kindle app on both my iPhone and my iPad, which I really prefer for sort of electronic reading because you can highlight passages really easily, which isn't so easy to do on a Kindle. So yes, very often I do have several books going at once. Next question, reading at home or everywhere? Well, I sort of answered that already. I do just read everywhere. I'll read at the gym sometimes, even when I'll go on the treadmill and I'll just walk very fast for on the treadmill for like 40 or 50 minutes while holding my iPhone and reading a book on my iPhone, which can be a bit dangerous because sometimes I can almost trip and fall. But if I'm not going too fast, then I find I can handle it, and I don't look too much like a geek standing there on the treadmill holding a book. Next question. Reading out loud or silently in your head? Well, I do most often read silently in my head, although I do read aloud sometimes. I read aloud to my boyfriend quite often, particularly right before bed. But also in the car. I'm not one of those people that gets car sick while reading in the car. And my boyfriend really likes to drive, so often in the passenger seat I'll be reading aloud to him. But then on my own, I thought Helene made a great point about this in her video actually. Reading poetry aloud is really helpful to get the like rhythm of the poem and get sort of the meaning of it, which is hard to do if you're just reading it and in your head. But I found also with the author Amor McBride, because her writing is so poetic and strange, even though she writes novels, both her novels, A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing and The Lesser Bohemians, it really benefits from reading those out loud, because you can get sort of the rhythm of her language much better than just reading it in your head. Next question. Do you read ahead or even skip pages? This is another one of those WTF questions. Like, why would you skip ahead? I couldn't really conceive about like skipping ahead in a book except to see like how many pages are left. Yeah, I don't really understand that question. I would never skip ahead. I mean, maybe when I was a teenager and read a lot more like fantasy type novels, and I got really wrapped up and involved in the plot and just like had to know what was going to happen. So maybe sometimes then I skipped ahead, but now, no, never. I would never skip ahead. No, no. Why? No. Next question. Breaking the spine or keeping it like new? Well, I'm really anal with my books, so yeah, I do barely ever break the spine of a book. I've gotten much more relaxed about it. I don't mind so much if my books get a bit messy while reading them. But yeah, I used to be like really careful, like holding the book really carefully so that the spine wouldn't break, which is ridiculous. I don't know why that was. And I remember once I went to a bookshop, to a used bookshop, and was selling a pile of books I had because I had too many. And the bookseller said like, well, where did you get these? These are like new, like, and I was like, well, I've read all of them. And he's like, no, you didn't. And I remember him like running his finger along the spine and saying like, look, there's like no creases. But I was like, no, I read it. I just read it really carefully. And he didn't believe me. So yeah, that's always stuck with me. Question 11. Do you write in your books? And that's sort of related to my like analness about books. No, I never do write in books, though I wish I did, because actually I love it when I come across, when I'm reading a used book and I come across somebody else's notes or things that somebody's underlined, or when, you know, somebody's sort of like talking back to the book when they write in the book. But no, I never write in books. Even now, even if I know I'm not keeping the book, I won't write in it. I'll take notes on another piece of paper if I want to remember a quote or a particular point about a book, but no, I'll never write in a book. And the final question, who do you tag? So I'm going to tag Adam at Memento Mori because I've really enjoyed watching his videos lately. He reads a lot of great classic American literature, so I'd be interested in learning about what his reading habits are. So those are my reading habits. Thank you for watching my video. And thanks again to Helene for tagging me. So I'm tagging Adam in this video, but obviously anyone is welcome to do it. I'd be really interested to hear other people's answers to this. So let me know if you do this video as well. I'd enjoy watching it. So I'll talk to you again soon, but till then, happy reading everyone.